good afternoon. Welcome to Rumbi Uncensored. And happy Tuesday to everyone. Guys, I just want to say if it's your first time to come across this channel, please subscribe and make sure that you ring the bell. But if it is my regular people, my body, my family, I just want to say shout out to you all. And thank you so much for sticking around. Let's have a conversation. Things are getting interesting right now. Getting interesting just in, and more closure as we getting to receive the formal report from SADC. You know, very interesting that SADC literally urged ZANU-PF or ED just to consider political settlement. And also on the other hand, we are looking at Promise Mkwananzi said ZANU-PF, Tshabangu out of depth. ZANU-PF could have chosen a better pawn for the job. Unfortunately, they chose someone who is not really a great candidate to do the work. And good to see everyone. Welcome to our afternoon show. I'm so excited, actually. Y'all doing great. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Don't forget to like the live as we move along. And also to make sure that you comment and, comment. Let's have a conversation. I love people that speaks. You know, I can't just speak alone. Please help me. Help me. Let's have a conversation. Will you guys consider political settlement? You know, during the morning, yeah, that was in the morning. Hey, yeah, okay. So I'll ask the question, are you guys going to consider fresh poll? Will you consider transitional government, or you can consider GNU? So some people are saying transitional government, some are saying they prefer fresh poll, but as Peneva Masona say, SADC urged Mr. Mnangagwa and the government to consider political settlement. And you know what? As much as there's still nothing much to that in terms of an official statement, honestly, the actions from the other side can tell there is something brewing in the camp. Because number one, you saw it when they were landing the terminal, when they landed actually at the airport, when Reuben Barwe was interviewing the president, Mr. Mnangagwa, and say, hey, how was your trip? To me, it was like a scripted kind of an introduction. But you know, Mr. Mnangagwa is getting younger, you know, by day. He's getting younger by day. So definitely you can't expect that to be thorough. Of course, it won't be thorough. You know, it won't be thorough. So I saw kind of an interesting conversation. And yet, all the ministers, we look at Kazembe, there was also Fredrick Shava. The seriousness on their face said a lot. It was like, something is going down. Even now, no one is saying much. They're just quiet. And we're like, what happened? Speak to us. And I haven't seen Mnangagwa, you know, I'm waiting for his presser, yo. Are you not waiting to? I'm waiting for Chris Mnangagwa's presser because I know him. You know, when Mnangagwa speaks, I know him very well. But I'm very patient. I'm waiting. We're waiting to see what's going to be happening. So guys, let's just have a look and see what's going on right now this afternoon on Twitter. What's trending? Who is trending? What's going on? Because this is where the real life happens on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, guys, you need to make sure that you open a Twitter account. Follow me on Rumbi Uncensored, Facebook Rumbi Uncensored, TikTok Rumbi Uncensored, as well as YouTube, you know, Rumbi Uncensored. So, so that we can have a conversation. The most important part is that let's join the community of communication and let's all speak together. Will you guys consider political settlement as per the suggestions of SADC? Bear in mind, this has been spoken by Neva Masura Sen. But one thing that I know is Zimbabweans in general are very much connected. You need to remember that apart from being an army guy or a police guy, you are still forming part and parcel of a Zimbabwean community. So some guys are still in contact with the army, they're still in contact with generals, still in contact with even dignitaries in different spaces. And what they're saying is, they say, please guys, consider a political settlement. I know, this one, yeah, I believe it. Because no one is saying anything. We're also going to be looking at the nomination court, and people are busy filing. We're going to look at that story too. And so much is coming up. Today is CCC's filing. People are asking questions. Are they going to fall under Songezo Tshabangu or fall under Nelson Chamisa? But they are stuck to their guns. They are definitely filing under Nelson Chamisa. They said we can't just give ZANU-PF those seats. We are standing up for what we believe in, and we are going to do what's right. Very much interesting. Okay. Here we are. What's trending right now? Zimbabwe seems to be a little bit quiet. Harare is trending. And I can tell you why. It's because of the Pomona deal. The Pomona deal. So ZBC gave Harare Mayor just a few seconds meant to make it seem he's only praised the Pomona project. They cut his full remarks. So in general, they actually cut the mayor as speech because he's Citizen Coalition for Change. He isn't really falling under ZANU-PF. But this is actually what the mayor had to say. He said, I shall be very brief in my remarks on this project. Before doing so, allow me, Comrade President, which is His Excellency, to express the commitment of the seat of Harare to a clean city that has functional services for everyone. We have initiated a transformative process that will, among other things, address attitudes of mind towards debt, starting with us as individuals, extending to families, communities, the city at large, and all those who visit the city on a daily basis. We shall be going public on this transformative process shortly, trusting that all segments of state and stakeholders will be supportive of our efforts after due consultation. As regards the project at Pomona, the previous council made certain observations which were communicated to the Minister of Local Government and Public Works. We have recently written to the new Minister of Local Government and Public Works, and it is my prayer that the issues raised not only by council, but several stakeholders may be addressed. The occasion provides an opportunity for consultation with appropriate officials to determine technical solutions that work for everyone. I thank you. So this is the mayor's statement, and you know why? Because the mayor, since the coalition has been fighting, against this Pomona deal, said that it is definitely not worth it to invest such a lot of money monthly. But unfortunately, it went through. You have seen the president and the mayor there. Also, July Moyo, who is the minister in the public works. That's exactly what's going on in Harare. Pomona deal is raising a lot of questions. We have also Citizen Coalition for Change and also other guys for ZANU-PF who are in busy today filing their papers in the nomination court. Very quite interesting here, and we're going to look more into those details a little bit later. Okay, so let's get in. Luanda in Angola. So then, in order to have legitimacy, you should consider a political settlement with them. So this is SADC. So as SADC, we are there to facilitate dialogue which will bring an end to the crisis in Zimbabwe. That was the diplomatic directives, but out of embarrassment, somebody is reluctant. Get that? And I told you that from the time that the president landed, knowing Chris Muchangwa very well, I was expecting him to come in actually Baba. They are As a matter of fact, on a Sunday, no one said anything from wishing lose George Charamba. He was using a ghost account. He could not even communicate by his official Twitter handle. Also, Nick Mangwana was quiet. And everyone was asking what's going on in ZANU-PF because of the Angola meeting, this SADC summit. So, as Beneva Mastora say, these guys are very much connected to most of the diplomats that were attending the meeting. So they know, and they said by tomorrow they're going to release what was the reaction and the actions that were done by our dignitaries there. And I was just talking to someone, I said, I just hope they didn't walk out of the meeting. I just hope, because the way the president looked at the airport, he looked like someone who could walk out of a meeting. I've had enough, I'm out of here, because he was furious. The ministers that were around him, you could see their faces. Something could not make no sense. I'm like, yeah, something really brewed in the side. Something went down. But knowing Hichilema, being a principled man, I knew that this thing can't slide. This thing will never slide. I knew it. There must be a solution to fix Zimbabwe. We cannot carry on generation after generation. I know that some PF did all this drama last time and got away with it. But this time people were ready and prepared. They were prepared to actually face them head on. You can see, Nelson Chamisa played the cards very smart. People thought he's not going to file today in the nomination court. And unfortunately, they're disappointed because he did. Why? Oh, you can't just give these seats to ZANU-PF so that they can take them and get two-thirds majority and start messing up the constitution. Definitely not. Definitely not. It's chess. We play the game. You play the game. That's how it works. Let's play. If it's a game, we are waiting to play the game. Okay, moving on. So So the allegation, people are saying that, you know, the way things are going on now, there must be a rigging alert, like it's just a rigging alert, kind of. So ZEC, presiding officer Mavis Madukmure says there are 12 candidates who submitted their papers so far, and these are, so that was Makaza Desmond, papers works in progress. So majority of the Citizen Coalition for Change, you know, nominees are still in progress, but all the ZANU-PF ones are already successfully failed. People are saying, hey, winner, why only ZANU-PF and independent, you know, independent filer? Why not Triple C, Citizen Coalition for Change? All of them are still in progress, but ZANU-PF paperwork is already gone through. How can that be? So they're saying it's a rigging, you know, rigging alert. As always. And I'm asking myself, why do we even have these elections anyway? Because, you know, they reported that they spent almost $5 million to, no, was it $5 million? If I'm not mistaken, I'll make sure my things are correct. Oh, $5 million, that's too much. But there was money actually that was invested in this whole process. And the question we are asking is why? We're done with these elections. Why are we recalling people? Why is Songezo Tshabangu getting such, you know, being rolled out a red carpet for you to come in and just make a mess? Do we really have time to spare? Or we're just playing games? Because we should have time to fix the country. Work together to build the Zimbabwe that we all want. And then Shumba said, rigging alert, why Triple C and all are still work in progress. ZANU-PF is successfully filed. Again, I mean, that to me, I would say exactly the same thing. And Simon said, is there no technical legality on filing as an independent? Otherwise, we will hear they did not resign from Triple C so they can be independent. Again, people asking questions. And then Tangana said, Zexim, why are Triple C MPs and independents still work in progress? Why all ZANU-PF candidates successfully filed? Again, my submissions too, the same place, you know, same officials, you kept the same time and you submitted your own documents, but only your documents for the opposition party that is being recalled. Their documents in work is still in progress, but the recaller, you know, and the one that is seeking a 2/3 majority has already successfully filed. That alone is a red flag. So people are asking why? Why is that happening? But this is the Zimbabwe that we are in. What do you expect? Why do we expect? All right. So Fazema had such an incredible meeting today. I'm going to tell you that is in. That should be, first time is definitely more pleasant. So they did an MP sensitization advocacy meeting on sexual and reproductive health rights in Zimbabwe. Young people in higher and tertiary education institutions are raising the following concerns. Number one, attachment. Bosses, partners, senior managers are demanding sexual favors for attachment, as well as, you know, okay, so, you know, on YouTube, we're not allowed to say certain words for a reason. But I guess it was say November we could. But, you know, so that young students can get better marks. That's diabolical and demonic, evil and satanic. Then lecturers as well are demanding the same thing as well, rendering young women students vulnerable to STIs, you know, sexual transmitted diseases, unwanted pregnancy, and mental health challenges. Absolutely diabolical. But I'm not surprised because I'm a firm believer that, you know, the toxicity drips from the top. You saw what happens with Susan Matami's allegations regarding ministers who were all, you know, literally grazing one woman. Can show you the kind of society that we have built, where we no longer know how to respect each other. There's also poverty, which is playing such a huge role in Zimbabwe, why we are saying let's work together to eradicate poverty in our society. Because this kind of ills that we are facing today, they are literally caused by simply poverty. Nothing else. Because I've never seen children from rich families selling their bodies on the street. When you check the resume of most of people that are prostituting themselves, you realize that it's actually poverty. Broken family life, you know, dysfunctional homes, and that again affects people's mental health. Then Rascal's Music said it's essential to address these alarming concerns to ensure a safe and equitable learning environment. Education should empower to exploit, so not exploit. We need to enforce strict policies against such practices and push a culture of respect and consent. Young people's futures depend on it, 150%. I'm still a person who advocates for strong family values because I know I came from a background of family. I think I've said it earlier on, and I'm going to repeat. I grew up in a family where I grew up in a family of 8, right? 6 girls and 2 boys. So, you know, imagine a family like that. When girls are too many, men are going to be up and down. So also my family is very close to the main road, to the road actually. We are literally, you know. So men would go up and down, and, you know, so there were rules in my father's house that you don't come back after 6. You know, I'm an old school person. You know, I'm 40. So for those that are, if you're a 2000 person, good for you. You're a child, you know. You know, I'm an old school kind of person, so I'm still holding my traditions. You can't come back home after 6. That was a ruin of my father's house. And if you try to do so, there were consequences. And I remember this rule wasn't really written on the wall. It was written on the tablet of our hearts. We knew at exactly 5:45, my dad would be looking at his watch and holding a belt. Listen, I'm talking about a leather belt. A leather belt. You'll be checking his time, 5 minutes to, and you need to make sure you put your food in the house. And because of that, I'm really finding myself struggle to just be roaming around outside after 6. I can't. You always find me in the house because that's how I was raised. It's really had to do with culture. We need to start building a very strong culture that really support strength and family values. Very important. Zimbabwe lost structures. You know, with the people migrating from point 1 to point B, there's quite a number of families that are broken today. And this is why there's high rate in drug addiction. We have high rate in actually people who are selling themselves for money. And corruption is definitely boils down to a family structure that is completely broken. And, you know, people really came out and said, this is actually a great initiative. And I think we should do it across the board. And this is what I want to say. Honestly, I still believe that we can do more in the rural spaces, more than the town. As much as we are doing these things in Mount Pleasant, don't forget that we've got a rural girls. We literally don't even know nothing. I'm sure Zimbabwe should learn to invest a lot in those vulnerable spaces, because the rural masses need more of this kind of teaching than the actually people in town, because people in town are more smart. They can read, they can buy newspaper, they can read magazines, they can watch television. What about the ones in the outskirts? What about the girls who are vulnerable there? What do? I'm sure this is why I've always been saying leaders who are being called to be members of parliament, councillors, please employ the right people who have a heart to serve. Not just everyone has a heart. If I was in any position in Zimbabwe, I would move from any rural area and help these girls to really understand how can they be able to deal with these kind of issues, because it's very sad to watch. Extremely sad to watch. Really very sad to watch. And again, Faz, remember Faz is on the train. They're busy right now on the train working with this regime. No wonder why there are some who have been, you know, successfully fired, the others are not, because Faz is on the picture. All right, Faz is definitely on the picture. Now let's get into talk about Songezo Tshabangu. The lamp, the tortoise on the lamp. Songezo Tshabangu, who was hallucinating nonsense. But you know what? Promise Mukwana said this was like the failed project for ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is exposed by Songezo Tshabangu, which I agree, honestly. I completely agree, because this script, it is the worst of them all. So Promise Mukwana said, Tshabangu, out of his depth, ZANU-PF could have chosen a better pawn. You know, fortunately or unfortunately, there's no intelligent people who would agree to play such a shameful role. Who in his right mind can stand as Tshabangu's candidate? Definitely nobody can. I would not stand for Tshabangu. And that's when you see that, honestly, I know that some of my fathers in the ZANU-PF are now getting younger. You know, I don't like to use the word old. They're getting younger every day, which is amazing. We all are going to get younger one day. But they must remember that some of their games are really not worth it. They are not classy. They're not worth it. Let's take a listen to what Nelson Chamisa had to say.
I don't know if that says you to go to buy
a big crime scene when it comes to tearing apart the constitution of the land.
In an event that the court at the end of the day decides you to go to a by-election, will you participate as a party?
Well, we should not waste time on unconstitutional acts, on criminal acts. We don't participate in crime. You know, it would be a different ballgame yet this position or this vacancy is being created by a proper case of law and the course of law. But you can say you choose to criminally produce an impositor, a fraudster, a bogus RICO, which is not from Triple C. Everyone knows who Triple C is. They know it. ZEC, the parliament, Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Mnangagwa, they all know who Triple C is. They all know who is winning the Triple C. But they choose to be dishonest, mendacious, and malicious. What do? They create a tortoise on a lamp post. For what reason? Because they want to deflect. What they know is the legitimate cry by Zimbabwe, that they need the result of the election to be respected. We won the elections on the 23rd of August. They know it. We know it. Everyone knows it. SADC. AU. The whole world is aware that Mr. Mnangagwa did not win the elections in Zimbabwe. And the elections were flawed. But flawed as they were, we won them. That is known. That is common cause. So they want to try and shift that focus. Create a new set of facts, hoping that that will deflect the attention and the focus of the people of Zimbabwe. We are not interested in side shows. The main show, the grand show, is the issue of having a proper government, a proper election, a legitimate government in Zimbabwe. That is the issue. All these other things are side shows. And you know, as you look at us, do we look like characters that would participate in a market show?
You're very clear when it comes to the focus.
Sure.
You had an opportunity when SADC came up. It came up very clear
Indeed.
to support how shambolic the polls were. And one would say that you want to outsource SADC in the region to complete the struggle.
Well, see, I like the term you're using, to complete the struggle.
Right.
Meaning to say that there's a struggle that is going on. You know, you don't give us credit for sustaining this struggle, for commencing this struggle, for standing up.
All right, so the bottom line is that SADC is done with that. We have seen it's done. But what's more important here, people asking questions. Nelson Chamisa said that we are not going to field candidates. But today we saw candidates on the nomination court. What's going on? So this is what I'm going to say. You really can't give ZANU-PF seats just out of nothing. Because that was the goal, to frustrate the voters. That's the goal. ZANU-PF has always and still, thrive in causing chaos. So they knew that if you guys get angry and withdraw, they can just say, oh, we win all the seats. But no, the guys went back and said, we're going to go back again and make sure that we file our papers and then we are going to campaign. And what do? Then we come back. So for me, I don't think it's wiser for people to think you can just let it go and give ZANU-PF to come back and mess up with the constitution. They are so desperate for truth as majority, but we should stand by all means and say, no, that is not going to happen. Why are we working on this settlement that is being suggested? And I've asked a question, I'm going to repeat again. What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer a fresh poll? Or you prefer settlement, political settlement? Oh, no, a fresh poll that is a transitional government, or you prefer GNU? By the way, GNU, for me to even say GNU, I don't even want to talk about it because I know we walked through that road before, which didn't never work. So preferably, I would settle for transitional government or fresh poll. But I also know that fresh poll is going to take us a bit of time. Maybe if they can adopt transitional government while we are busy preparing for the poll, that will be in my own in my own personal view, that may work. I don't know what you guys think, but I really want to hear your views because it's so important for us to actually share our views. Because can I tell you something? For your own information, they are watching all these things. They do watch. ZANU-PF people come here and watch because they need to understand what people think and what people are saying. So say how you feel and what you're thinking, because we are not there. But please be in mind, be respectful. We're not going to be swearing. Let's be respectful. If you want to speak up, let's speak up respectfully because they listen to this kind of thing and they are taking note of it. They know. People are speaking. People are saying something. But guys, there's something that is shocking me here. Do you know that the former Triple C MP Mavuku Tafara Munyaradzi, He failed to submit his nomination papers because he didn't have a birth certificate. Sources confirmed that he is currently stuck at Mavukten off roadblock because he doesn't have a fire extinguisher. Hopefully he will make it. What do they mean by that? No, I think this is ZANU-PF record. I just, pushing like nonsense propaganda. I don't buy it. I heard that he had left his birth certificate, which he's going back home to fetch. So I'm not going to buy this. Absolutely not true. It's a lie. I mean, I know ZANU-PF, I'm not surprised that we are where we are now because of this. It's definitely a mess. And then the record called Repark also, Pasha says him and the 13 other ex-MPs filed their nomination papers online yesterday ahead of the sitting of the nomination course today. They will run SCCC, which is under Nelson Chamisa. So this Songezo Tshabangu or tortoise on the lamp post is simply nothing but a joke. Forget about it. ZANU-PF is shooting himself in the foot. This is simply a joke. I know some people are kind of looking at some guys like, oh, he's a man of the moment. The man is already expired. You can't come in and mess up with people's future, yes. And the people are going to laugh at, no, they won't laugh. People mean business here. They want a Zimbabwe that functions. So nobody's got time to play games. We want this country to move forward, all of us. We want a better country. You know what I'm saying? And then so Dara said, we have no drugs in hospitals and ZANU-PF is funding elections. Democracy is expensive. Why are you funding the same election that we've done, but we do not have, medication in hospitals? We can ask the same question. I am tired of asking questions. This is why we just need to change. Let's have a transitional government. Let's change. Let's whatever we need to be out of this mess. We will ask questions and questions and questions, still finding ourselves stuck in the situation. How many questions did we ask, guys? So many. They said 1 ambulance for Paranyato Hospital, 1 ambulance for Paranyato Hospital, 5 million for a senseless, needless, illegal by-election. And for me, who's someone who once got very sick, okay, and I was in Paranyato ICU. That was I was 20 years old. I know exactly, but that time Paranyato was a real deal, real deal. This woman, she was I'm gonna say the word out there. She was a nurse, an albino nurse. Listen, I'm saying this because I always say to myself, I wish one day I can meet her. If you have taken care of this woman, and I was young, but please, I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you because you changed my life. She was a phenomenal. Paranyato was top class at that time. It was beautiful. And here we are today, it's nothing but a joke. And I can only imagine if I get sick the time that we are in now, definitely I could have left this world. But because we had good nurses, things were in order. I mean, it was top class. And they managed to help me. And I walk out of the hospital. I once been in the ICU, so I know what I'm talking about. Very close to go to heaven, but then God said it wasn't the time. I was very close. I can tell you I was very close to go to heaven. But God said, no, stay here. Yeah, so then I came back to the world. That's why I'm here. But all I'm saying is, we really, guys, honestly, Zimbabweans, you may say, I'm in the diaspora, I'm fine. But boom, when you travel to Zimbabwe, you fell, well, maybe you have an accident, God forbid, and now you want to be in the hospital. There is a problem. Let's come together, speak up, say something. And I told you that these people listen to these things that we are saying here. They watch these videos, they listen, they read all your comments to understand what Zimbabweans think or say about the situation that we have right now in the country. I'm asking you guys to speak up respectfully. We don't disrespect, but we have to act like human beings by being respectful all the time. No matter what it takes, all the time. Now companies are packing their bags, they're closing down. There's a company called Metro Wholesalers. It's closing down because the situation is not favorable in the country. And they're saying the worst is yet to come. And we definitely need to do something to really save our country. We have to do something, guys. We have to make sure we protect the legacy of our children. And the promise said an imposition is pending in ZANU-PF. On the one hand, there is Mnangagwa and his extrajudicial groupings such as FAS, Lacoste, close family, friends, kinsmen. On the other hand, there is the general, his groupings, namely the military, ZANU-PF structures and others. The battle is is centered around ensuring that Mnangagwa doesn't get a third term. That if he leaves office, he is now due to, he doesn't impose a successor but give away to his deputy Chiwenga. Both leaders are under immense pressure from their supporters, kinsmen. Chiwenga realizes he made a mistake by handing power to Mnangagwa, while Mnangagwa sees an opportunity to extend his rule or at least retain the throne among his kinsmen. The ethical dynamic threatens to splinter the liberation movement into a irreconcilable or irreparable pieces. Sorry. In the midst of this melee, President Nelson Chamisa remains patient, focused, the only standing national leader that will unite the nation beyond unethical or any other divisionist considerations. I also believe that Nelson Chamisa is the right candidate as we speak. I don't know if they're going to be amazing candidates later on. We will see. Because definitely it's not going to be the president forever. There's going to be also people that can come through into the space. So they are amazing and incredible Zimbabweans who are doing so much well out there. That also be the right candidates for the position. But all I'm saying is we need to be in a position to do away with the toxicity. I'm just fed up of toxicity, honestly. I want a country that is functioning, a country that respects and honor rules. We must have parameters that draw a line in the sand and say not again in this country. We want to see a country that functions for all, that respect freedom of speech, that respect a success for young people, that create opportunities for each and every one who may want to be whoever the Lord has called them to be. Very, very important. So they say Tshabangu and his people in the nomination court right now fielding for 5 candidates, four or 5 candidates. So Tshabangu is in the court. He's filing also his people, Tshabangu. Did you also hear him yesterday that he said that CCC must reverse back to the 2019 MDC alliance settings, because that's why he said he was very much useful. That's Tshabangu. So he prefers that Nelson Chamisa adopt the leadership that was very much, active during the time of MDC. And I don't know how you mix MDC and Citizen Coalition for Change, because Citizen Coalition for Change is a new baby on the block. It's a new baby on the block that, which are part and parcel of. People ask us, is it really a new baby on the block? Yes, it's a new baby on the block. Okay. And I was a Secretary General, because at that time he claims he was a Secretary General very close to Wente, and now why is he not retaining his seat or his position in Citizen Coalition for Change? He's also trying to bring the tribal, playing the tribal game, but which doesn't work at all, because this is 2023, y'all. In my mind, I don't even know who's in Ndebele, who's what. I just know Zimbabweans. We are all amazing people. As a matter of fact, I can speak in Ndebele and I can speak Shona. My daddy can speak in Ndebele. We are just like one people, but he's a Shona person. So there's no Ndebele, Shona, whatever. We are just family. Let's just do away with all these lies and move forward. So tonight we are going to be looking at America. So the administration in America have urged Biden to make sure that he sends a strong message to Mnangagwa that enough is just enough. There must be peace in the land. I guess all forces are coming along, working together just to put pressure on Mnangagwa. One of the things that I'll tell you is when people are fed up of your behavior, let's just say it's a workplace. Because as much as we know we are dealing with SADC, bear in mind SADC also EU knows what's going on, what happened in the SADC meeting. Also AU knows what happened in the SADC meeting. America knows, people are exposed, information is at everyone's disposal. As we speak, you and me may not have the actual document that that contains the official details of the outcome of the meeting. Although things are coming out little by little, by people who were there. But there's going to be an official document. One thing you must remember is those officials are also communicating with other external forces to say this is what we discussed. So I'm sure the reason why the American administration is putting pressure on Mr. Mnangagwa is to say, please sort out the mess. sort out the mess in the country. Zimbabwe is a successful country, it's a rich country, so we're going to look at that story a little bit later. And also get to look at what happened to Mutendo Matinyarare and Dr. Brian Kagoro. There was a fiasco, fighting for, Mutendo Matinyarare thinks is bigger than, but Dr. Kagoro is a wise man. I mean, that one is a power bank. So, definitely, what are you talking about? You could compare Rutendo and Kagoro. So we can look at that issue a little bit later in the evening tonight. And also, Chiwengwa went after Rutendo Matinyarare. So we're going to look at that story a little bit later tonight. So guys, thank you so much for sticking around. I'm so grateful that you guys come along. So let's monitor what's going on with the nomination the nomination process today. And also, what's up with what is his name? This man, the tortoise on the lamppost, the Mr. Songezo, Jean-Pierre Spawn. No, these are not my words. These are Promise Mukwana's words. They're really not my words. So don't think that I'm the one who says no. I just take stories and I talk about them. These are not my words. So we're going to be looking at that story a little bit later. Okay, so this is attention UK Parliament. It is our understanding that Auxilia Mnangagwa, the wife of Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, will be visiting the United Kingdom for a cooking show. Oh, I didn't know that. As you're aware, a Triple C member of Parliament, Takuzwa Ngaziwari, was recently abducted and tortured. You are also aware that Honorable Job Scala has been in jail for over 500 days, and yet the wife of an individual presiding over these human rights violations is globe-trotting for cooking shows. We ask UK Parliament to inquire about who is sponsoring or hosting Ms. Mnangagwa. The human rights violations in Zimbabwe can no longer be ignored by either the UK or by the world. Zimbabwe Lives Matter. Oh, by the way, did you see people in the UK who went to strap Mr. Mnangagwa's portrait on the wall as the president of Zimbabwe? It also happened today in Cape Town as well. People went and strapped his portrait on the wall that this man is not the president of Zimbabwe. We have a caretaker. As you heard, Kasugire mentioned the same thing, that, after the meeting at SADC, Mr. Mnangagwa was simply a caretaker. We are working on have a legitimate leader. These words were spoken by Kasugire today. Because the election was a sham, so they don't recognize the leadership of Mr. Mnangagwa. But for me, saying I'm happy with what Ibomandas is suggesting, transitional government for me. I'm saying for me. I think I would respect that. All right, so also the elections were not free and fair. Mnangagwa told in SADC extraordinary. We know he was told that. So when SADC adopted the report, it rendered Mnangagwa illegitimate. Mnangagwa has been trying to avoid the issue. On the 31st of October, during a SADC virtual meeting, Mnangagwa blocked the matter from being discussed. You also heard that. And all the other video shows Mnangagwa leaving the summit. Reuben Barwe mentions the smuggling of the Zimbabwean issue onto the agenda, to which Mnangagwa says we only discussed the DRC, but that was not true. It was not correct, because Hichilema confirmed they also discussed Zimbabwe, so everything was simply just a facade. But like I said, these are diplomacy. You can't expect Mr. Mnangagwa to talk about the outcome of SADC at the airport. Honestly, I'm sure there are forums and times that issue will be discussed. I also heard today that there's actually 3 delegates, which includes Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken, which other one again, but 2 other countries, Mozambique as well, that should be coming to Zimbabwe to have a meeting, because the SADC is suggesting a political settlement. Mnangagwa felt ambushed by the inclusion of the Zimbabwe issue on the agenda. He had hoped to have the matter not discussed at all until Zimbabwe becomes the chair of SADC. Then he can have full control of the agenda items. But this would be crazy. Honestly, if SADC would consider Mr. Mnangagwa to be the chair, for me, in my own word, in my opinion, I don't think that would be wise. I'm going to explain to you why I respect the president, but based on what happened in Zimbabwe and our ills that are still yet been resolved, I don't think it would be wise to make him a leader, because how is he going to lead? For me, I've always been saying, I remember this, one teacher that I once listened to, she was saying that if a man can't lead his home well, there's no reason for him to go outside and teach because he's already a failure. You know, you must lead first before he understood to share his gift with other people. If your gifts or if your leadership is not okay at home as a man, it's not worth it transporting, right? Your leadership, if it's flawed or crooked at home, how do you expect to be a teacher somewhere else? Start from home. It begins at home. Charity begins at home. I can't show love out there, but I feel to show love with the people that are within my boundaries. So for me, Mr. Mnangagwa to be a leader or President Mnangagwa to be a leader, you know, to me, it won't make sense. Considering that we've got so much mess in the country that needs to be sorted. Let's start by fixing our country. So SADC was right by making sure that this meeting is done prior to him becoming the chair of SADC. And see what will be his reaction. Because, I mean, you can't be a chair of SADC. You don't want to do the right thing. They're like saying, how can you be a leader? You can't. You know, you do the right thing first, then we can trust you with our future. Isn't it? I completely agree. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. And thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. I'll see you later on around 8:30, 9 tonight, where we are going to be discussing American administration, which sent a very strong message to Biden to make sure that at least Mr. Mnangagwa heard that they are definitely not happy with the way Zimbabweans are being treated. And also Cheno Matinyarare, Chiwenga, and Dr. Kagoro. Thank you guys, and make sure that you have a great one. If you just wake up, for those that are waking up early, I mean in Europe, I just want to tell you hello. I love you. Thank you so much, guys, for coming and joining in. It means a lot, really. So may God bless you. May God bless Zimbabwe. I love you so much. Bye for now.